In this video, it's my pleasure to be interviewing Arda Findikoglu. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below and what you like to see in future videos so I can work on that. My book, Backgammon, Backgame Strategies, is available. There's a link in the description to where you can get it. And if you're interested in lessons, please email me. My email address is in the description. And again, in this video, I have the honor of interviewing Backgammon giant. Everyone knows him, major tournament director Arda Findikoglu from Turkey. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful introduction, Alex. Thank you for the opportunity and your kind invitation.
My pleasure. How are you doing today or tonight for you?
It's almost midnight in Turkey, Istanbul. It's all fine on my side. These days, I'm getting planned for my 2024 events. It will be a very tight schedule year for me. And in a couple of days, I have the end of the year event in Istanbul. So I'm physically getting prepared too. Everything is in the right order.
Very good, very good. I'm looking forward to talking about that. And you live in, are you living in Istanbul, Turkey, or somewhere else?
Well, my home is in Istanbul, Turkey.
Okay.
I have another one in Podgorica, Montenegro. So,
Oh,
like 10 days a month, I should be in Istanbul, other 10 days in Podgorica, and the last 10 days, I'm traveling around for some event organizations. It's like
very,
I have an event every month. So,
wow.
I'm usually on the road.
Yeah, so that keeps you busy. Wonderful. So I look forward to talking a lot about backgammon. I'd like to start with a little background biographical information, if I may. Can you please tell us where you're from originally and where you grew up and did your education?
Of course, with pleasure. I'm from Ankara, Turkey. That's the capital of the country. I was born in 1980, and I'm the only son of my family, the super valuable one, as you can imagine. So my family always took really good care of me till an age, and after some years. Uh, After I graduated from high school, I won the university exam. So I moved to Istanbul together with them. I studied the civil engineering in university, and my profession is in earthquakes. So I'm a kind of an earthquake engineer. At the same time, I have my master's degree in construction management. So after I had a really decent and good education, I decided to leave everything, and I preferred going towards my dream of organizing backgammon events in my country. Actually, my organization career started during my university years in order to make some additional income. I was working in other organizations unrelated with backgammon. On the other hand, I was a chess player from my high school times, who was not one of the best, but not one of the worst at the same time. I was somewhere in between, but in chess, as you might know, after some time, if you cannot improve yourself and you understand you cannot reach to a decent position, it starts becoming boring. That was my case. But as we were trying to improve ourselves with my fellows in chess, of course, backgammon's ancestor Tavla is the traditional game of Turks. I learned it from my father, even I don't know when, I guess when I was 3, 4 years old. As the only child of the family, my father was trying to, entertain me with the game. And it was never interesting for me because I was even unable to count numbers. I remember, so whenever my father wants to play tavla with me, I was saying, "Oh my God, here we go again." So my game was chess, in my opinion, and actually we were uh, seeing the game of tavla a bit low, as it's a street game in my country, and we were always talking like if someone is not smart enough to play chess, then he can go play Tavla. But when I was in Istanbul, one of those days, my father brought internet modem to our house. So I tried how it works. I was amazed about the idea of internet. And like every youngster, I tried a gaming site. That was Yahoo. I think those times it was the only one. And I
Yes.
had short time, so I said, okay, I will try this backgammon thing. It's easy. It's for everyone. That click changed my life. And I saw some people discussing positions and talking about probabilities. As I'm an engineer, I'm very interested in numbers. I'm very interested in maths, analytical approach to life, not only the game. And I told them you cannot be serious. The backgammon cannot be such a deep game, and they told me it is. And I got interested. They got me in their group, so we started talking about the game almost every day. And I found myself leaving everything and focusing in this. It was really, really interesting for me. And those times I'm talking about the days there was no XG, early days of Snowy, which is not so easy to use for everyone. There were books, and one of my fellows, I still see him. He recommended me Paul Magriel's Bible, the Backgammon, and I found it in a German library. Then I found another copy to buy for myself. That's how I started going into backgammon, and just because of that click. That day, I had nothing else to do. I was interested in how the idea of internet works, and in a gaming site between like maybe 10 games, I decided to click backgammon, and here I am after years.
Yes, that's very common.
Yeah.
I've heard that multiple times. I've done multiple interviews now. Last week I was speaking with Bill Roberti, and he was originally playing chess. I spoke with Mochi, who originally started playing a Japanese version of chess called, I believe,
Right.
shogi. And I knew some of the late great players like Falafel originally played chess, and Paul McGreal first played chess. So a lot of people get into a backgammon from chess, but I know in Turkey and in the Middle East, it's like everybody plays it. You play with your family, you played with your parents. Do you have children yourself? Are you married?
No, no,
Oh,
I'm
no.
not married. I'm married with backgammon community, I say.
I
But
know
that's
it
my family.
it's very hard to be able to do all of these things that you do and a lot of others when you have other commitments. Like I'm married, I have two kids, and I have regular jobs, so it's hard for me to do all these enjoyable things in
Well,
spare time.
I have some thoughts about it. I believe it's the most beautiful thing for an individual to find a life mate and create siblings, a family. But the way I live, as you can imagine, it's not fair to that person, whoever she is. So I'm postponing it. But at a point, I think I will reach there because I mean, I cannot continue this forever. I'm already 43 years old, and maybe a few more years. Then I should focus in myself more, I believe, and I think I did my duty towards our community.
Hmm.
There is nothing I can complain. I love our community. I mean, in almost everywhere around the world today, there is a door I can knock if I need any help. Yeah, and I think my biggest chance is I'm in this since I was a kid, and I was 17 years old when I first met backgammon. Yeah, and people in today's backgammon world, they grew all together with me. Some of them know me from my childhood, so they support me in my every act. And of course, I try to give them the best service. That's how it reached to these days. So they became my family in years,
Yes.
but I mean, I don't see myself doing the same job when I'm 70 years old. So
I know. When I first started playing like the tournaments, I remember the big name who would organize the tournaments was Shiva Tafazoli, and now
yeah,
you're the one that's like the big name amongst the international tournaments. And I'm sure,
thank you.
yeah, you first started by playing, and then how did you get into directing and organizing and running tournaments?
Well, actually, my story continued as I bought all the books that I could find.
Yes.
Negrio, may he rest in peace. He's still, I think, the biggest idol in backgammon world, backgammon history, and others like Robert T, like Walter Trice, like many others. I read minimum 20 books about backgammon. And of course, that helped me improve my skill, even that I was not aware I was improving, but yeah, I became okay. Then those times, casinos were open in Turkey, but
Oh,
in the year 1997, I think, they were closed by the law. They closed all the casinos. So all games went underground. And I have to confess, I was playing backgammon, Tavla, in those underground gambling houses, which are not good places to go. I don't recommend this to anyone. And I was beating everyone, but it's like I was going there to those places for like 5 hours, 6 hours at night till the morning. I need time to progress because, as you know, in short term, it's 50-50, no matter the skill level. But if you play like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours with a person, then skill starts giving its results. And I was playing long sessions, and I was making some income out of it. And as a student, making such an income, a group of people gathered around me, my friends, fellows from university. And one of them knew that I was interested in this. He registered me to an online tournament, which was organized as a celebration of starting of a new website. Its name was VOG, Vinco Online Gaming. I think it was a Russian-based platform. Now it's not active anymore. And I played in it, and I won that tournament. During that, I didn't know I was playing some well-known world players. We are talking about the years 1999, 1998. I didn't know anyone in the world community, but in a way, I got lucky to win it. And the editor of the magazine Gammon Village, Michael Strato, who is like a brother to me, he wanted to make an interview with because nobody knew who I am. And it was a surprise that a no-name player made it to the top. There were lots of people in that tournament. So we had our interview. Very short time after that, I was contacted by Marco Pornasir, the Worldwide Backgammon Federation's General Secretary, asking me who I am, congratulating me, trying to explain me how things work in the world, and offering me to collaborate to create something in Turkey together because Turkey is obviously one of the major backgammon or tavla countries of the world. Everybody plays, and WBF had no influence here. So he said, "You are the new face of Turkey, so why don't you give it a try?" I was not very interested at the beginning as I was still studying university. I think I was at my master's degree years. Uh, Probably not. Probably it was my last year in university. And at first I was not so interested, but we kept on talking. And Alberto Dapra, our president, may he rest in peace, he passed recently. I had long talks with him. He was encouraging me too. He was saying, "You are young, you are talented, this, that, so you can try." And I had a Tavla community around me because of my times playing almost every day. So I wanted to give it a try. I can tell you the exact dates. By the way, I went to some international events to understand how things work. And 28th of October 2001, I remember the date because 29th is the anniversary of the foundation of Turkish Republic. It was one day before. I had my very first event in a very small coffee house, even not a coffee house, a little coffee shop in Istanbul, which was actually a big failure as I couldn't find more than 18 players, and 17 of them were my close friends. So it was like I was begging people to play. Yeah. This is how it started. And as they were playing, some people saw and they asked me how this game is being played, is that I explained them. And very soon after, like in a couple of months, we repeated it. And that time I had 32. I remember I closed at 32. And it started growing. I said every year, 2, 3 times, I can organize this kind of weekend events because everyone is busy. I have to study my profession, and it went like that for a couple of years. But it grew to a point that some of the players who are very enthusiastic about creating a community about this, I mean backgammon, the modern variation, they offered me their help so we can create a small club in Istanbul. And they don't need to wait every 3 months, 4 months to satisfy their tournament needs. They can meet there and play. I always state correct according to the law in Turkey because if playing for money is forbidden, as I was doing this, I said I cannot continue organizing, so I have to choose one way. I will be the role model, the example to people who newly arrived. So I left the playing side, playing for money side, and I focused in the organization. And we created our club. Today, that club spread it all around the country. At a point, we reached like 12 cities operating at the same time. But after the pandemic and after we got divided, like every big community, at a point, it starts dividing by itself. There happen some other factions in Turkey who are still doing their activities in a very good way. I think that kind of competition is good for the players before anything else. Our amount of clubhouses is down to 5 now. But I mean, Turkey is 81 cities, and it's all about how hard you work because my luck in Turkey is we are never having trouble finding players. If I go out to any street and ask loudly if there are any Tavla players around, someone will come. It's not the problem. The problem is economical these days because in Turkey economy is not going so good, and these are not cheap activities, of course, because playing tavla is just you go to a coffee shop, you order a cup of tea, and that's it. You can play. But in our system, we organize in fancy, nice hotels. There are some inscription fees, so we can create some prizes. It's not money inside Turkey, but still we have some decent prizes like vouchers. Today it has around 3,500 members all around the country.
Wow.
My club, yeah, and it's still operating. Sometimes it grows a bit more, sometimes it shrinks a bit, but as long as I think I would like to keep it going, I think it will.
Yeah, I think that's great. There were a few things you mentioned. Wanted to discuss first. I know a lot of the people that watch these videos are familiar with the traditional backgammon, but the real traditional one, the tabla, or they have other forms, nardi or things. So the differences, in my understanding, and I know it's a little different in each culture. There's no doubling cube. That's the biggest difference,
That's
right?
the main difference. Yeah, that's the main difference.
There's no backgammons, right? But there's
Correct.
gammons. And of course, since there's no doubling cube, you can win a gammon. And the opening roll, each player rolls one, and the one who rolls the highest rolls again. So doubles are allowed, and the winner of the
Correct,
previous game rolls first, right? Now,
correct.
for me, I don't know how it is in Turkey. In some places it's different, but when I grew up, there's no pick and pass in the inner board.
It depends from region to region. In some regions, pick and pass is not allowed because they say this is the men's game. And if you are a real man and punch someone, you should let him punch you back. And
So good,
that's
but
the main thing. But in some regions it is allowed, and in the original form of the game, that's Taktenard, it is allowed. So that manly thing is written to the game, I think, by someone who was very proud of being a man. I don't know what it means, but he put that rule inside, and some people agreed with it. But in the original, pick and pass is allowed.
yeah, and I think I know just like you, for me, it's just something that backgammon brings me enjoyment and it brings other people enjoyment. It brings so many people together. I can't tell you how many people I've met around the world, yourself from Turkey, from Asia, Europe, all over the
Yeah.
world that I would never have met. I think you do an outstanding job of recruiting other people and bringing people together. And I think for me, that's one of the things I'm one of my goals. I'm going to be on the board of the USBGF, and one of my personal goals is to get more people involved. And you're probably the world's expert on doing that. What kinds of things have you done and you found that helps bring more people to play the game?
At this point, let me congratulate you for your new position in USBGF board. I think that was a very good decision by USBGF community. I know how active you are, and you will bring extra power to American backgammon community for sure. And
Thank
I
you.
take your words as big compliments. I appreciate. Thank you. I think my biggest chance, as I mentioned, is I am a player before anything else, and I am an observer. So before I grew bigger, I traveled to almost every organizer's events at least once to observe how they are doing it, what are the downsides, in my opinion, what are the headlines that I'm having trouble as a foreigner when I reach to a place, and I made my observations, and I tried my events work in a way like a guest doesn't encounter that kind of troubles I encounter when I travel to outside of Turkey. For example, the most basic one, if I travel to a place in which English is not very well spoken, and I don't know the language, I can speak a few languages, but imagine I don't know the language of that place. And okay, our plane lands. I'm out of the airport. Now what? I should take a taxi, but I don't trust him. What will happen? Will they treat me okay? Will they bring me to the right place? This is always an issue. So I brought the idea of airport transfers. Of course, this is not. I mean, finding something new. Of course, everybody can arrange airport transfers, but I think I made it in a way like it works for everyone, like for a very cheap fee, or sometimes even for free if I have another partner sponsoring this. I offered airport transfers to people. They love it, and they don't care about how much they pay because they are in a foreign environment. They don't want to be bothered with trying to explain their need to a taxi driver, this, that. They just go to the place we are showing them. They see the person waiting for them, fine. And I see myself that when I reach to my destination, now what to do? Shall I talk with the reception? Are they waiting for me? Where is the playing hall? When shall I be there? That kind of questions were always on my mind. So, and for me, you guys, I hope one day I will be able to be your host too, are coming, of course, for your backgammon tournament expectations, but in a way to meet me, because when you see Arda is the host, you are extra relaxed about the situation. So I'm the person you should see the first when you reach to the destination. So I try to wait at the entrance door for all my guests. Some people see, they tell me, but this is too much. You don't rest, you don't sleep, you don't do your own things, but wait for us. I think it all starts with the warm greeting, because I was waiting for that warm greeting when I was traveling. And I try to explain them very briefly how it will work, when do I need them. I try to introduce them to the receptionist, of course, not only me, but I have a group of co-workers supporting me in this. About the tournaments, for example, in today's backgammon world, of course, this performance rating, PR factor is very important. Everybody is trying to play with the lower PR, and the game play level increased a lot. I think everybody is playing so good. My times, I was really good. Now I'm one of the, I would say, advanced players, not better than that. And because of this, in a way, although we should protect players who are playing good, at the same time, we should protect players who are not at their level, because otherwise they will escape. If you are so sure that you have no chance to win in a tournament, one time you go there, you enjoy the event, you enjoy the environment, okay. Two times you go, but the third time you will not go. So in a way, we should protect them too. So I didn't go with formats like triple elimination, quadruple elimination, because that decreases the chances of the weaker side. But I didn't go with single elimination too, because in backgammon everybody can lose a match very easily. So I tried to create a special double elimination format. Or double elimination exists for years, but I tried to make some arrangements in it, of course, getting help from some other valuable names, Jan Chohristo, a Bulgarian fellow, Torben Haseris, a Danish fellow. They helped me in this. So we created a system, and I think it answers all the needs from all sides the best way today. So I'm using that format in my events. I try to make it in a very serious way. At the same time, I try to make my guests not to forget this is a game after all. We are there to have fun, as long as our fun doesn't start bothering the other side. Yeah. So I try to bring everything with correct needed amounts into this and prepare a cake. And it's, I think, delicious. Everybody enjoys the taste of my cakes.
Yeah, that's outstanding. And I think, one of the things that you're well known for, and in Turkey in general and a lot of places, but not necessarily everywhere, is the hospitality. When you go to some of the big cities, it's not the same, like here in Los Angeles as opposed to other places, even in the United States. I was talking with someone recently, some places you're walking on the street, you see someone and you say hello, but if you do that here, they think you're crazy or something like that. And I think that's really important. Just like saying hello and smiling to people, that's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Well, one of the things I was doing, I had mentioned I was recently doing the commentary at the Los Angeles tournament. One thing I just tried to do is, you have the two players on stream, something small, just wish them good luck before, have them shake hands, and I would bring them each a glass of water. And it's just something small, but they really appreciate that. It's just
Course,
little
of
things.
course, of course they do. Of course they do, because you think about them. You think for their good. When they feel it, by the way, I should tell you, I make lots of mistakes in tournaments. Lots of mistakes. But I never hide any mistakes. and I try to compensate or correct them. And most of the time, the other side, who is the victim of my mistake, doesn't want any compensation from me. He says, no, you are doing your best for us. We can see it. These are normal. These are small things. Please keep it going. And this is so valuable. This is very valuable. They protect me.
Yeah.
And of course, I will wait for them at the entrance door. Of course, I will be on their service. I mean, 24/7. During tournaments, I'm available 24/7.
Yeah.
Anybody
That's
can
yeah.
reach me anytime.
That's outstanding. I think, everyone makes mistakes, and the important thing is to learn from your mistakes. Just like when you play backgammon, you're going to make errors
Yeah,
and then you learn from them. Um,
sure, sure,
and that's
sure.
good. So, how did you first get into kind of the international scene of running major tournaments?
Actually, as I said, I traveled to a couple of international events by those times by WBF. My very first international visit was, if I'm not wrong, to Nova Gorica, Slovenia. The WBJ was holding Middle European Championship of those times, and I'm talking about the last years of the golden times of backgammon, late 90s. Early 2000s, it started getting less interest by players, and they mostly went to poker, so it went down for a few years, I would say, first 10 years of 2000s. But I caught the last years of golden time. So in Nova Gorica, I remember there were like 300 players. In today's backgammon world, 300 players makes it one of the major events of the world. Those times it was not a huge amount. It was okay, but it was not a huge amount. That's how I started, and I continued with other WBF events. At a point, I started going to WBA events, that's Civata Pazzoli. I participated in a few events of him in Paris, in Salzburg, if I'm not wrong, and some other destinations too. I visited almost every European organizers' events, once or more than once, but I wanted to see how they manage the needs of the players, the needs of the event, how they approach people. And I created my own style using my observations from all those events. In my whole career, I think I visited around 100 backgammon events organized by other organizers. So it's a big amount, I think.
Yeah, I think you're an expert in that, and I think there are a lot of people that are interested in starting clubs, running tournaments. Other than the things that you mentioned, do you have any recommendations for someone who wants to run a tournament?
Well, first of all, in my opinion, such a business cannot be, if you see it as a business, it cannot be done with the name of making income, financial income. You should love what you are doing, because the moment your aim goes towards financial reasons, you lose your patience. You have to be very patient with players, with your guests. Sometimes they can be really tough, but you should be patient. You should be patient with your expected outcomes by means of finances and everything else. That's how it begins. If you have this ability, then you need players. It's not easy to start such activities like backgammon clubs in countries where there are not so many people playing the game. In Turkey, I was very lucky with this. I can start a new club any day, anywhere inside Turkey. It's all about economical thing. If you have an amount of players which is enough to create a club, then you can start working on it. And I believe you should, again, as I say, you should make sure this doesn't turn into a group of gatherings of people in which strong players are just uh, eating their fishes, and next time the same, next time the same. You should protect those fishes, and you should protect those strong players too at the same time. But you should create some, I would say, events, some formats that the fish should have decent chances to win. Of course, it's not likely to happen, but you should give him the chance. Otherwise, I'm talking about, for example, Chouette clubs. We have some here, although it's forbidden by the law. You cannot play for money, but of course people do. I don't. I can see that from time to time some very nice individuals join those clubs, but they are not lasting long. After a couple of weeks, they say, I didn't like this game because he's losing money all the time. I mean, there should be event kind of things to keep the things going, keep such people uh, inside more. And when you create the social environment between those people, when they start calling each other in special days, maybe going out to eat together, I don't know, when they start spending their extra time outside of backgammon together, now then it's done. Then nothing will happen to the club. It will work for long years, I can say. In my clubhouses, uh, almost all players are living like a commune life. They talk every day. They eat together. They eat every day. They play outside of our tournaments. They play. They watch football together. I mean, this social environment to be created is, I think, the key. And it starts by protecting the weaker sides against the stronger side, because the stronger side will win in long run. That we know. Just it should happen in long run, not like punching the guy immediately right after he comes inside. Let it be in the long run. That's what I would say.
Yeah, of course. It's something everyone does for enjoyment. It's fun. It's a game. And I feel
Yeah,
like,
it's a game. It's
yeah,
a game. We shall not forget it.
the feedback from experts like yourself is very valuable. Also, I've been trying to get feedback from the players to see what they like to try to incorporate those things. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm hoping to improve everything, like you have. And I know you're known for a lot of things, but one of the things you're possibly best known for is your relationship with the merit tournaments. Tell us about how that started and what happened with that, please.
Sure, merit was actually a life changer for me, because I was always working hard. I was having my Turkish events. I reached to an amount like one event in a different city every month, but they were mainly inside Turkey. And I was going out to play in international events too, but I was not running any international ones. A couple of times I helped WBF organization in WBF events, but I was working like a low rank staff, like I don't know, I was running jackpots, I was helping them, but I was not doing my own events. One day I got a call from a person, Mr. Yurdal Büyükgüngör. He was one of the legendary casino managers of Merit. He's still there. He's still working for Merit in another branch now. He told me on the phone that they want to organize the biggest backgammon event of the world, and they made their research. They want to work with me. Just they want to understand if I'm capable of doing this. They want to hear this from me, so they want a meeting. I said, yes, sure, we can try, but it's not easy. It will need lots of finances and effort. So it's not like one phone call and say, okay, let's run the biggest backgammon tournament of the world. I said we should meet. He said, okay, then I'm coming to Turkey tomorrow. And I thought to myself, I remember this is serious. I called my assistant and we met Mr. Girdal in our clubhouse next day. He was there and we discussed our abilities, what we can do, what we can't. and they invited me to merit. I went there. I called Marco or Nasir to join me because he was always like a big brother for me. I didn't want to do this alone, so I called him and he joined me too. There we made a deal, and they openly wanted us to bring the brand of merit into backgammon community, and they wanted all world backgammon players to hear the word merit, to memorize the word merit, as the organizer, the producer of the biggest backgammon event of the world. And I told them this will need lots of finances. I can do that. I can work on it, but this will need lots of finances, and I want minimum 5 years to reach there. They said you have the finances, and 5 years is fine. Our first year, I remember, although unfortunately there were some other factions, they were trying this not to happen, I have to say. But still, it's end up with, if I'm not wrong, like 130, 140 players, which was not a big success, but it was a good start. Then came the second year, and meanwhile, they hired another organizer, that's Avraham Eitan, one of the old school organizers of my childhood, I would say. He organized an event there too, on a different date. So he was able to bring old schools. They saw the ambience, they saw the hotel, and they came back for the second edition of my work. And after the second year, it exploded. I mean, first year was okay, then Eitan's event, it was okay. Then my second year was like 300 something. And third year, 400, then 500, then 600. It started growing so big. And yeah, every year we put some more stones on the wall, and it reached the sky in years. Pandemic was a big hit, of course.
Right.
We had to stop. But I remember in 22, we were able to organize it, and still we got like 300 players. It was not, the pandemic was not over yet. But still, it worked out. And this year, merit in our side of the world, the economic situation is really not good. It's not easy to see it from the West, but all those wars happening and bad planning, bad ruling of the countries, this, that, whole economy collapsed, especially in Turkey. So Merit told me that they will not be able to sponsor this as high as before, but still they will put their best into this. And they did. And although wars are happening, room rates of the hotel increased a lot, this, that, still we had 386 in total, which is almost 400. And that was satisfactory for me. I think from this point, it will start increasing again. Maybe it will not reach 600, 700. But still, it will be the biggest event of the year, I think, by means of the cosmopolitan environment we are creating there. There are other tournaments getting more participants than us. In Istanbul, the faction I'm in competition with, they are organizing an event with like 600, I don't know, 700. They are talking about 1,000. I don't know details, but big amounts. But in merit, the prize pool is almost more than 500,000. And
Hmm.
there we are talking about 53, 54 countries. This is no joke. I mean, I never saw a Venezuelan live in my life before I organized the merit tournament.
Yeah.
They're coming from everywhere, and I really love this because they are going to somewhere just because they heard from their fellows that they should see this, they should experience this, and I am responsible. I mean, if anything goes wrong for any guest from anywhere, I see myself responsible. So I really try my best, and I will keep on trying my best for them. It's very valuable for me. One more thing to add, the I would say country of North Cyprus is not recognized by EU law, or I don't know, maybe in the States it's not recognized too. It is recognized as an invaded territory of by Turkish army. So would you go to an invaded area to play backgammon? Whatever I offered to you, you wouldn't because you would be afraid of your life. This is how it started. I mean, the destination we are organizing is not an easy one. It's not for everyone to say, okay, let's give it a try. Because of some lobbies, they are afraid maybe there is invasion, there is war, whatever. But it took years. But now I think we gave a big help to country's name too. And I don't know, maybe you would be surprised. We are getting Greek Cypriots there from the south side, and they are having so much fun. I have lots of friends from Greek Cyprus, and we are having so much fun there all together. They are super welcome. They are playing their games. If they win, we celebrate together, and they go back to their side. I think one of the best things about backgammon and such gatherings, tournament gatherings, is we are apolitical. Of course, I have my political views. You have, everybody has. But there in that environment, we just throw them away because we don't want to hurt the feelings of the other side. And that's so valuable for me. You don't see this in many places.
Yes, I think that's great. You have, Turks, the Greeks, Armenians, who traditionally have had a lot of conflict, but they all come together, and people of different religions going all together to these tournaments. I think that's a great way of getting people together. I know you got the sponsorship that you did. They kind of approached you, but a lot of people are asking and suggesting try to get sponsors for tournaments, and that's always really good. I've spoken to some people, and it's just very difficult. Do you have any recommendations on how to actually go out and find sponsors?
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy because backgammon is I would say a mind sport, but many would object this. They would say it's a game. Some would say it's a luck game. Someone would say it's a gambling tool. It's in the gray zone. We don't know what backgammon is. We all have our different opinions. So when you are approaching a company for sponsorship, uh, they don't know if they are doing this right because if they put money in a gambling act, maybe their customer profile will not enjoy this. So our main sponsors are usually casinos, and casinos look, of course, that's very normal. Look how much they will benefit from this, and I'm not a casino player, so I'm not sorry about this, but casinos are sorry that backgammon players are not playing in the casino during their free times. Backgammon players are playing backgammon in their free times. So after some time, those casinos lose their interest too because they don't benefit from this. My chance with merit was the idea was from the highest person of merit holding, that's Mr. Besim Tibuk. He is a backgammon addict, backgammon, not Tavla, and he has money, he has facilities. He said, I will run in my facility the best backgammon tournament of the world. So the order comes from the owner. That's why they didn't care how much financial benefit they made from this. And actually, I can easily say that that's transparent. Casino side didn't make lots of income in years from our tournaments, no matter it reached 600 people. But hotel side made a very decent income because we are organizing this on early November, which is outside of the high season. Still good weather, but it's not season anymore. So hotel is making filling itself, making good income, and our guest profile. is very high. People who know how to thank, who know how to behave, who know how to tip. This is valuable for hotels, and they are promoting their brand, their place, all around the world, to Latin America, to Japan, to Canada, to Nordic countries, everywhere. This is how it came. So, finding a sponsor, uh, you should always offer something to the sponsor, and that doesn't have to be money. It can be recognition, for example, like maybe the product possible sponsor is selling. Maybe it will be promoted in the States. Normally, he had no chance to promote this there, but with the help of your federation, if he sponsors, a European company will be promoting his product in the States, or the opposite, or hotels. They want to promote, they have promotion budgets, and they want to promote all around the world, and they spend lots of money for this. Yeah, if you convince them that if they spend half of that money for the good of a backgammon event organized there, they will get like 30, 40 countries, and those people having good feedbacks will be talking about that facility in their own countries when they are back. And this is stronger than any kind of paid advertisement that you hear this from a good friend of yours. Actually, that's what I'm using. I try to make every single guest as satisfied as possible, as long as I can achieve, of course. I just try my best. And I know if I make him satisfied, next year he will come with five more fellows around him. If he doesn't come, someone who hear from him will come, and that's how it grows, in my opinion. Finding a sponsorship, we all try our best. Mainly casinos, mainly hotels, mainly companies which need some promotion and advertisement in different other countries can be our focused areas, but still it's not so easy. Mainly in countries, backgammon or gambling, not backgammon, but gambling is restricted. This that it's even harder.
Right, right. I think you're definitely one of the most well-respected organizers and people in the game. I want to congratulate you on the behalf of
Thank
myself
you.
and everybody else for all of the things that you've done. And recently, in the past few years, you've been organizing the World Championships in Monte Carlo, and now they have a sponsor, a Backgammon Galaxy. I've spoken with Mark Olson, so I think that's outstanding. I know before we run out of time, I want to talk about a couple of different topics. Tell us about your experience at the World Championships.
Well, actually, merit is the reason of the fact I'm the head director of World Championships since the year 2015, I would say. Yeah, 15. Antoinette Williams, the sweetheart, she visited a Cyprus event of mine, and she was amazed. She recommended my name to Patty Rubin, may she rest in peace. That's why Patty contacted me those times and offered me a position as the head director there. Before me was Steen Grombach. He's one of my idols. He's still, I think, one of the best directors of the world, although he got married and he had a new child, so he's not into this anymore. I talked with him and I asked him if it's fine that I take this over from him. And after getting his approval, that was important for me. I never step on anybody's feet. I never did that, and I would never do that. I took it over. It was the 14th year. Now with Galaxy, we changed the calculation, but in previous calculation, it was the 14th edition of World Championship, which is a special year. And that was coincidentally the very first year a Turkish player won it, Cihangir Çetiner. I remember both of I ran the event, he won the event, and at the end, I remember I was super emotional about this. and I love the environment. I was a player in Monte Carlo like 2, 3 times before, so I knew the place. But of course, being in charge of handling it and succeeding is such a satisfaction. I mean, I'm living for that satisfaction actually, and I love the place. It was nice working years for me. Then Patty passed away due to her illness, and Galaxy stepped inside. Yes, Galaxy brought big energy into this, and they, with Mark, with others in Northern Galaxy side, they brought some new things into the tournament, and they brought an additional value for the championship. I have to say it's not easy because Monte Carlo is obviously one of the most expensive places you can have this. But on the other hand, it's such a tradition created by our elders who probably all passed in uh, passing years. I think we owe this to them that it has to continue in Monte Carlo, although it's not so easy financially. But with Galaxy's involvement, I think that will be achieved, and I hope I will be running it as the head TD many more years, as long as I'm still good in it. I mean, Galaxy decides.
Yes, I'm sure, I don't know if you know Louis de Jong is going to be recognized by the USBGF Hall of Fame,
Exactly, Lewis.
and I
Mhm.
look forward to the same thing for you, hopefully in the future. Uh,
That would be even better than a dream for me. Thank you.
One of the last topics I wanted to go through is I know in Turkey and the Middle East, backgammon is popular. I grew up playing with my family, and it's like that. And Turkey is one of the biggest countries, so there are a lot of people that play there. Probably everybody in their house has a board, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Almost everybody has a board in the house. Some people use it very often, some don't, but they have the board. Years ago, I read a research report that I don't remember those times the population, but say 75 million. Today it's about 82. They were writing like 40 million people in Turkey can answer something when they are asked if they know Tavla. And like 20 million of them is playing Tavla once a month. 20 million people is playing Tavla for social purposes, of course.
Right.
Once a month. This is huge. This
It
is
is.
maybe bigger than anywhere else.
Yes, and you did an outstanding job to grow it to where it has become, both in Turkey and throughout the world, of course.
Thank you.
I think that's outstanding. And you were mentioning now there are multiple different factions that are in existence in Turkey. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, of course. I started this years ago, and it grew to a point like we were, I would say, like 2000. And inside this group, of course, there were some people who were not enjoying my ways, who were seeing it different than I do. And for some reasons, they decided to create their own community. Uh, what can I say against this? I mean, it's their rights. If I can do it, they can do it too. But of course, during the creation phase, because our relation didn't start nice, they were all players in my community, actually, in my society. Because this separation phase didn't happen in a nice manner from my perspective, and I'm sure they would find some mistakes in me too. Our relation didn't start good, and it didn't go pretty well for years. But I think that brought some chance for first Turkish, then world backgammon community, that our competition made us active. So I tried to be better, and they tried to be better. They did really good jobs. I would never say they do bad jobs. And this competition created very well run, world class run backgammon tournaments. I would say from both sides. And at a point, Merit's involvement gave me another chance to organize in Cyprus. They were having their organizations in Cyprus. And recently, uh, that second fraction was divided inside itself too. And now, as far as I know, they don't have really good relations. But with me, they start creating some communication, like with nobody fights with me anymore. So I don't have to defend my position. I was always a defender. I was never an attacker because I know if I die, you will not survive too. Either we will survive together or we will die together in this. So I never wanted to argue about this. I always saw it like I had a restaurant and one day somebody came and opened the restaurant next to mine. So I can never be angry at a customer or a guest that one day he eats in my restaurant, and the other day he eats in the other. But if he stops eating in my restaurant, then I ask to myself, what do I do wrong? But I can never be angry at that other restaurant owner or the customer himself. This is how I saw it all the time. And day by day, other factions are seeing it like me too, although of course, there are egos, there are different aims. These are normal. But in time, they realize that there is no other way than I'm proposing. So, no matter we are not one, I don't think we cannot be united. I don't think we can be united. But we can respect each other's existence and good competition, respectful competition, will bring good to backgammon world. This is what I'm trying to do. And I'm in communication with leaders of other factions lately, recently. It was not the case years ago. So I think it's going towards a good way. And for example, they moved their Cyprus event right after Merit. It is a smart act business-wise, and people who are coming, especially from overseas, to my November event, they are able to experience two events, one after each other, in one trip. So this is good service for backgammon community, and of course, it brings additional players to that tournament. That grows that tournament too, and I have no fears about it. I hope everybody grows to a point that backgammon becomes one of the major board games of the world. We have a long way to go, but I have no problems with any other organization. I shouldn't have because this is bad for me.
Right, right. That's true. I know in any business, it's impossible to satisfy 100% of the people.
Sure.
So that's always the case. And I feel like backgammon has brought together so many people around the world. And, I think anytime you work together, it's always better. And maybe you could even have like competitions, like world team competitions, different faction competitions, have a team event between the two or three or whatever, and that will bring together a friendly competition and just make people enjoy themselves. Now, before we go, I know it's been very enjoyable speaking with you. I really appreciate your time and, of course, all of your work. I speak with people through video, and it's always a hope to one day be able to meet you and others in person. Of course, I know you live in Turkey. If you ever come here to the Los Angeles tournament, I know you were here one time before as a guest. We'd love to
Two
welcome you.
times.
Yeah, two times. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Do you have any final remarks before we conclude this interview?
I want to thank you once again for this beautiful opportunity. I enjoyed every moment. I hope it will be interesting for your audience too. And you were using so nice words about me. I take all of them as beautiful compliments. I appreciate. You will see me. We will meet live somewhere, probably in the States. I try to visit an American event every year, at least once for 24. I didn't choose the one, but I will. So one day we will meet each other face to face.
We're looking forward to that.
Me as well. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much. It's
Alex.
been truly a pleasure speaking with you. We'll go ahead and conclude. I look forward to hopefully having you in some future videos. Maybe you'll join me for a backgammon versus the bot video. I know you enjoy playing as well. We'll go ahead and conclude. Thank you to, of course, Arda, and thank you to all the viewers for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I have. Please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below and what you like to see in future videos so I can work on that. Again, my book, Backgammon, Backgame Strategies, is available. There's a link in the description to where you can get it. And if you're interested in lessons, please contact me via email. My email address is in the description. I look forward to seeing everyone in future videos. And until then, keep rolling your dice.